All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful day. It was an absolutely massive day. There was a rumor over the weekend that the Trump tariffs would be a lot more focused and smaller, and exemptions, all the stuff you've heard before, and that was enough to gap us up. It got a little sticky when Trump started talking, but by the second time we heard from Trump, he didn't shoot it down, and generally, this idea that the tariffs on April 2nd will be a little lighter, the market has received it well. So mix that in with the seasonality, the broad view. We have a very interesting week ahead. So I got to break down. I have the keys, the plays. We're going to talk about the Fed a little bit. We're going to talk about what to look for this week. And then we're going to go over some plays and getting ready for Liberation Day. So if you don't see me post a watch list, I did not post one yesterday, but last 2 weeks, we have been doing a lot of live watch lists on the other channel. So make sure you guys are subscribed because we're live Monday through Friday, youtube.com/the stock market. Not only are we live trading throughout the day, but if I do a live watch list and you don't see one posted on this channel, make sure you check there. But yesterday, yeah, we had a fluke, baby. We had a fluke. It's a long story. I was actually not here. I've been traveling. Oh, yeah. Follow me on Twitter, man, but run it.
Walking to the couch, it's the joints on the legs. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then you feel it's a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
Right off the bat, like I said, today was all about tariffs. Surprisingly, all day was just waiting for updates on this. You started with the tariff rumor that things would be more focused than broad. Then Trump started talking about tariffs on pharmaceuticals and cars, and that brought some things down. And then there was another conversation, and he was like, you know what? I might not even tariff all these countries. He was saying that if he tariffed some of these countries to the same rate they tariffed us, they would like go out of existence or something like that. And he was pretty much saying he was going to go lighter on a lot more places and was borderline confirming the rumor. Like I was saying here, we have heard this a lot, and I was telling you, get ready for this. Right ahead of the tariffs, you're going to get this back and forth. You're going to hear a good rumor, then they're going to shoot it down, then another one, and then you're pretty much going to end up somewhere in the middle. Now, we started off with that this morning. That's why I kept playing puts throughout the day. They eventually hit, but then by the second time we heard from Trump and he started to sound bullish about it, I was saying that he had every opportunity to shoot this rumor down. Him, Lutnick, all of them, and they didn't really walk it back. So that added to some of the rally we got on Friday. Even on Friday, there was this rumor. It carried in over to the weekend. You got the confirmation. Trump didn't shoot it down. Now, coming into tomorrow, you should be riding this wave. So we'll see what happens with it. I do think you will get one more unexpected rumor before April 2nd. So you are not out of the woods just yet, but that is key number one. Now, key number two is kind of coming out of nowhere. I'm going to hit you with a hot take, but the Fed speakers don't matter anymore. And why I'm saying this, one, we are coming off of Jerome Powell. Two, I want you to pay attention to the bonds and the rate cut odds. They have been moving around, and we even had some Fed speakers today, and odds were moving around. But now go look at the bonds, TLT, and over the last couple of weeks, the bonds catching a bid, even though the market has dropped. That's a good thing. If you think back to some of these other theories we have talked about, we have been going over how, hey, you know, if you kind of crush the stock market to save the bond market, in the long run, that's not going to be a bad thing. But I want you to pay attention, because if the bonds kind of blow out, rate cut odds start to shift, some of these Fed speakers, people are trying to tie things into it, but you got to notice something. We're going to get some data this week like PCE and even consumer sentiment in GDP, and I'm sure you're going to hear some Fed speakers, and we got to hear a little bit of Bostic today, but I'm telling you, back in the day, early days, or like 2018, the last time we had the tariffs in Powell, the market didn't really care what every regional Fed member had to say, because they would say a lot of things and then Powell would kind of do whatever he wanted. And I think we might be going back to that. And like I'm saying here, I'm hearing a lot from Waller and then VP. He even kind of agreed with Powell. And then you'll hear some that are very distant from Powell. But you're going to get these comments, but I don't think they're going to move the market anymore. I think as we really start moving into this cycle here with Powell and Trump, I don't think your regional feds, voter or not, are going to move things. Why? Because if Powell kind of just keeps doing whatever he wants here, playing his own game plan, and it is kind of decisively different than the dot plot, then that is going to open up this opportunity to ignore all the other Fed members, and then we go back to all about treasurer, president, and then Powell. So we'll see where that takes us, but I think you got a lot of Fed speakers on the calendar this week. Let's see how that comes into play with what I just told you, but that is key number 2. And then finally, for the rest of the week, it's not that much in terms of data. You will get PCE, GDP, consumer sentiment. I know it all sounds important, but I think you've had way bigger data. You're coming off the Fed, CPI, non-farms. Those are going to be the data sets you want to watch out for. The PMIs, or again, we're going to get a couple of PMIs, or the ISMs. That's the one that you really want. But when it's all said and done, I think Liberation Day, end of the quarter, even kind of the end of the 100 days, we're getting close to that. That's going to kind of have more importance, and then the beginning of earnings here, than any of the other data sets. I think the data sets can affect sentiment and then pay attention to bonds, but if we start to kind of do our own thing, as long as the market feels good about Liberation Day and all of that, I think you could ignore the data, as we kind of have already. So I think the broad view, whether or not we bounce off that 200-day or the volatility comes back, remember, you're not out of the clear just yet. I thought I had a picture to show you of it, but you have the most amount of shorting by hedge funds all of a sudden. I showed you guys this chart at the beginning of the year, and remember, we were talking about investor funds kind of being underpositioned. Well, I think they were right, because now take a look, or maybe they caused it to all the propaganda. Okay, don't get me started, but you had that drop. This is showing you pretty much the funding spread, kind of demand for hedge funds. That is now hit a new low despite this bounce. So we're not out of the woods just yet, but again, we are feeling good. Remember that seasonality and March 23rd. This is having people feel good, so we'll see how we get into the tariffs, the end of the quarter, and earnings, and all of that good stuff. But now, let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, we're going to have a lot more broader factors in store, and that's what ties into the first play, UVXY, the VIX. I think this is going to be the play between now and Liberation Day for either the negative rumor or whatever happens. I played this on Powell Day. I lost, and then I pivoted to the calls once I realized he was bullish. Ended up working out. Even today, I made a play on the UVXY. Ended up making more on the SPY calls. We even woke up to SPY calls up like 700%. We got some on Friday on some of those other rumors, but point is, UVXY, I do think we might get volatility or a volatility spike. It doesn't have to be a major decline, but if people start to feel good, then we get hit with another negative rumor, then that chop returns, and then we don't get the easy breakout. If not, if everything goes smooth, if all the rumors get more and more positive, none of them get shot down, and nothing bad really happens, and we start rolling through tariffs and earnings, and the end of the quarter has good demand, then this play's not going to work. But if you do get one negative rumor and we get a volatility spike, I'm looking to play these. And the best part about it, UVXY, it's not really a good play. I've been looking at these options, and really you either double up if you're right on one of these gap down days, or you're going to lose half. So I stream alerted that when I made the play. I think that's how it was. I made that middle of the day. We were balancing it out with some SPY calls, but I think you either double up with a gap down, or you're going to lose half if this kind of rally and craziness continues. So watch out for that. That is play number 1. Then play number 2, we hit a lot of Boeings last week, and I kept talking about Boeing. Again, if you don't see a watch list on this channel, go to youtube.com/thestockmarket, hit live. There's a different thumbnail on them, and you'll see the watch list there. But we talked about Boeing and GE. I think this might be another one to tie into it. There was some rumor or talks with them in like Korea Air and Howard Lutnick and Boeing. So it's already high and breaking out. I think Boeing had a lot more meat on the bone, but I like the cheap 2-cent 3-cent penny speculative plays on that for the weekly, just in case we hear anything. Other than that, I wouldn't go beyond just like a $3 play. So keep your eyes out for that. See if it gets tied into any policy and speculation. And then finally, CP. This was another play that I made today, so I do have an option on it, but I made a play because it looked like news. We started watching UNP go down, CP starting to pop up, and I was like, you know what? Railways, transports, they've been sold off really hard here. Maybe we'll get something with tariffs, and then it kind of faded, but the stock didn't fade, and then the premiums went higher. So watch out for it. Could just be a broader transport bounce. Other than that, though, maybe we might hear something. I got a little bit of time. I went for April, so we'll see how that plays. But other than that, I'm going to be doing a lot of SPY plays. I've been going back and forth. They've been good, especially if it's a tariff headline week. Maybe we'll get some good ones. Otherwise, individual plays have been looking good as well. I did make a play on Apple. There was another headline about them meeting with China, or China saying they welcome development. I think Qualcomm met with China, so made some moves on there. I had Amazon's from Friday, made those freeze. I bought the tech dip. We've been talking about it, and I think tech is the discount. I think for a flip, the seasonality, I had some money there. We also were playing some short-term too, so flipping and doing a lot of flips, that's how I've been able to maneuver it. Haven't been holding any of these too long, making them free, and we'll see what opportunities are offered by the headlines tomorrow. But Chad is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. And I need you to remember, it's better to be scared than to be stale. Oh, yeah, I hope you figured that out. Oh, yeah, shout out to Philo, but Chad, I love you. Drink that water, stay hydrated, healthy, all that good stuff. I'll see you in the morning, and or not.